Today on the Tiger Basketball Report, we'll preview the Tigers game against the Phoenix of Elon. Get ready, fans. The Tiger Basketball Report starts now. Hello once again and welcome back to the Tiger Basketball Report. I'm your host, Ben Rosenbaum. The Tigers will hit the road and travel through the Carolinas this week, starting with a trip against the CAA defending champions, Phoenix of Elon. As always, I'm joined by the head coach of Towson Women's Basketball, Diane Richardson. Coach, welcome back.
Thank you so much.
So, trip through the Carolinas, this is always a tough trip. We hear Coach Scarry talk about it. We've heard other coaches talk about it. When you make this Elon and Charleston stretch, or Charleston-Elon stretch, however you want to look at it, it's always a tough, long road trip. And how do you guys prepare for this?
Well, you know, that's the thing about these road trips where there's a Friday-Sunday game where you kind of have to prepare for both teams during this week. And so we've got 3 days to prepare for two teams. Obviously, Elon, the defending champion, and then College of Charleston, who we lost to here at home.
Elon, they're 10-6, 2-3 in the conference. Rashika White and Shea Burnett as good as they come. This is a team that's kind of riding high, though, coming off of a CAA championship that I don't think a lot of people expected them to win. Mm-hmm. And so when you kind of go into this environment where they're protecting a title, they've taken some losses already in the CAA, how do you prepare for a team that, you know, they don't want a quote-unquote letdown game against a team that's lower on the standings right now?
Right, absolutely. And you know, Towson, obviously, we prepare to be giant killers. But on the other hand, and they're preparing too to not lose to a team like Towson. But you know, Elon is a very physical team, a very athletic team. I think they're probably one of the most athletic teams in the conference, and so we've got to be prepared for that when we do our scout this week as well.
We've talked about playing in tough environments. James Madison, Bob Carpenter Center at Delaware, and even Drexel at the DAC comes to mind. Elon, though, undefeated at home so far this season. When you have that ahead of you, and it's a team that plays extremely well at home, and they've yet to drop one at home, and they're all about protecting their home court. You talked about being giant killers. How do you kind of get your girls into the mindset that we want to come into their house and mess things up?
Yeah, and you know, in our preparation this week, it's going to be all about us. And we've got to understand that it's about us on the court and not about the fans and not about the stands and not about any of their records at home as well. So, you know, going into this week, we've got to prepare to be us.
The Delaware game, one of the big storylines was the foul trouble kind of hamstrung you guys and hindered you. How do you work on, trying to prevent those fouls that were a little ticky-tacky or hard fouls? I mean, you think of a couple, Danny Durden at Delaware kind of runs down the court and just kind of bowls in during a fast break, lazy foul. Prevent those, and then also play through it when maybe you did play the defense correctly and you just got a foul called.
Right, and that's the thing too. I mean, we've been working on no hands, no hands. I know that's a point of emphasis this year where, you know, you can only touch them once. And, you know, even if we can see sometimes where the offensive player kind of runs into us and we get called for the foul. So we've got to be more conservative with our hands and just play defense with our feet. So that's one of the adjustments we're trying to make so that we don't get into a situation where the referees are calling every little touch.
Your last 3 games have been decided by no more than 2 points. Delaware was a 2-point loss, and then you beat UNCW and William & Mary each by 1. You're having these close games, and obviously the Delaware one was a heartbreaker, and there was a lot of other factors. But the UNCW and William & Mary one, you know, we always hear coaches say, it doesn't have to be pretty, we just need to get the win.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable winning that way, where it's just these one-possession games, or how do you try to get them to fix those things that maybe you should be winning by 7, 10 points?
Well, the first thing is obviously getting them to fight through, even though we may be down a little bit, and they're, you know, overcoming some things, and we're winning the games and pulling it out. You know, obviously on the road we have to be like 10 points ahead. But, you know, I found that in the CAA, more than 50% of the games won have been won with 2 possessions or less. So it's been very tight across the board in the conference. And, again, going into a hostile crowd situation or a away game, we've got to be 10 points ahead because I tell you, those tight ones are nail biters.
Absolutely. The Tigers hit the road on January 19th to start off their trip through the Carolinas against Elon. You can follow along starting at 7 o'clock on TowsonTigers.com. For head coach Diane Richardson, I'm Ben Rosenbaum. Thanks for joining us, and as always, go Tigers.